It's actually amazing how easy it is to unlock the secrets of property ownership and history with just a few clicks. So, whether you're a budding real estate investor, a major history buff, or honestly, just curious about properties in Montgomery County, this explainer is your ultimate guide to accessing those records without spending a single dime. Stick with us here because by the end of this, you are going to be a total pro at navigating these online resources. Okay, but first, we need to address a pretty massive quirk in the US system. If you just go online and type in Montgomery County property records, you're probably going to get lost fast. Why? Well, because there are prominent Montgomery counties in Maryland, Pennsylvania, Texas, Alabama, Ohio, and Tennessee. And since public records in the US are heavily decentralized, every single one of these jurisdictions handles the records in a totally different way. There is really no one-size-fits-all approach here. So here's our game plan for today. We'll start with a quick intro to property records, figure out how to navigate county websites, and then walk through conducting your free search. After that, we'll decode your search results, look at using alternative resources, and finally wrap up with a bit of troubleshooting. Let's get right into it. Starting off with our introduction to property records, let's talk about what you actually need to get started, and more importantly, what you're going to find. Let me tell you, these public databases are an absolute treasure trove. You can discover a property's entire ownership history, its current and past assessed values, and get all the nitty-gritty tax details. But it goes way beyond that. You can pull up recorded deeds, check out mortgages, and even find physical characteristics like lot boundaries, exact square footage, or whether that residential home you're looking at has a basement. So if you're a real estate investor hunting for your next deal, or a historian piecing together the story of a 19th century building, this is literally the foundational data you need. But before you jump in, you've got to prep. To pull up the correct file, you'll need at least one key piece of info. That could be the exact property address, the current or past owner's name, or the tax parcel number. You might also hear that called an APN or parcel ID, which is usually this unique 12-digit code depending on the county. And hey, if you don't know the owner's name, no worries at all. A simple street address is usually the perfect starting point to track down everything else. Moving right along to navigating county websites and how to actually find the right portal. This brilliantly highlights just how wildly different these jurisdictions can be. In Maryland, for example, property records are highly centralized at the state level through the Department of Assessments and Taxation, or STAT. But jump over to Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, and they use a hybrid system. Assessment data is free, but accessing official deed images is going to cost you a $25 daily subscription. Then you look at Ohio, where the county auditor provides a fully open portal with free mobile app access and free deed images. It's kind of all over the map. So if you take absolutely nothing else away from this section, please let it be this. There is no single unified database for U.S. property records. You really have to embrace the localized nature of this data. Knowing exactly which state and county portal to target for your specific property is half the battle, because I promise you, looking for a house in Dayton, Ohio on the Maryland State website is going to leave you totally empty-handed. Okay, so how do we actually do this? Let's get into conducting your free search and mastering the query. Following this exact 4-step sequence is going to save you so many headaches and keep you away from those frustrating error pages, especially since some of these older municipal databases aren't exactly as smart as Google. Step 1, just access the official portal, like the Maryland SDAT site. Step 2, select your search parameter from the drop-down menu. Step 3, input your data very, very carefully. And Step 4, apply any available filters like date or location to really narrow things down. Now this is where things get really interesting, because these government systems can be unbelievably picky. Seriously. For address searches in a lot of counties, like Ohio's auditor portal, if you type out the word street or avenue or use an N for north, the system will just crash and fail to find a match. You literally have to strip it down to just the street number and the core name. And for owner names, you often have to enter it completely backwards, last name, first name, with absolutely 0 commas, so Smith John, not Smith, John. Mastering these little syntax quirks is an absolute game changer. Awesome! Now that you've got your results, let's talk about understanding them and decoding all that real estate jargon. The very first term you're going to see a lot is current value. This one is pretty straightforward. It just tells you what the local government currently believes the full cash value of the property is for tax purposes based on the most recent assessment date. Next up is base value, and this is really cool because it shows you how property value shifts over time. The base value is essentially a snapshot taken from the previous assessment cycle, which is usually 3 years prior in places like Maryland. Local governments use this base value right alongside the current value to calculate phased-in tax increases. It's basically a built-in safeguard so property owners aren't suddenly hit with a massive, terrifying tax spike all at once. And then we have a Latin term that really trips up a lot of beginners: ad valorem. If you see an ad valorem tax district on a record, don't panic. It simply translates to according to value. All it means is that your property tax bill is directly calculated as a percentage of those exact property value numbers we were just looking at. Simple as that. Next, let's explore using alternative resources to go way beyond those main portals. Sometimes a main portal just falls short. When that happens, alternative tools are your best friend. County GIS or Geographic Information System hubs are honestly incredible. They give you these interactive aerial maps where you can visually check lot boundaries, measure distances, and click on parcels right from a satellite view. You can also dig into local permit portals like highway occupancy permits in PA to see exactly what work has been authorized on a piece of land. And lastly, third-party platforms like Property Checker or Deal Machine are fantastic. They compile all this dispersed county data into clean, easy-to-read reports, which is insanely valuable if you're trying to build contact lists for real estate investing. Let's wrap things up by going over some troubleshooting tips so you can overcome any roadblocks you might hit. Okay, so let's tackle some common hurdles. Have you ever searched for a property and found that the owner's name is just totally missing? Well, because of strict privacy regulations, main portals in Pennsylvania and Maryland actually disable online name searches on purpose. The quick fix? Just use the address or the APN instead. What about hitting a paywall? Honestly, it's completely normal to run into fees for official deed images, like that $25 daily fee in Pennsylvania. If you don't want to pay, just stick to the basic property assessment pages, as those almost always stay free. And finally, if a site is totally down, check your watch. The Maryland's SStat system, for example, routinely takes itself offline for maintenance every single morning before 7 a.m. Like anything else, practice makes perfect. The absolute best way to become a pro at this is to just jump into your local Montgomery County portal and run a few test searches. Look up your own house, check out your neighbor's lot boundaries on the GIS map, or search for a famous local landmark. Navigating these databases is a learned skill, and getting hands-on is for sure the best way to figure it out. Before we completely sign off, I do need to drop a quick disclaimer here. The public records data we've talked about today is incredibly insightful, but the content in this explainer is strictly for informational purposes. So always remember to consult a qualified attorney or financial advisor before making any actual legal or real estate investment decisions based on these digital public records. All right, now that you've got the keys to these free digital archives and you know exactly how to navigate the syntax and decode the jargon, the entire historical and financial map of the county is right there at your fingertips. So, what I want to know is, which fascinating property's history are you going to unlock first? Dive right in, start searching, and let's see what secrets you can uncover today.